Good evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer, and I would like to welcome you to Friday Night Live, Uncovering Creatives. This is the program where I'll be talking to creatives, the creative frontrunners of the city. What are they doing? How do they do it? Their entrepreneurship, their creative minds, all of the goodies. I get to ask a lot of questions. You get to join us by getting all the info and enjoying all that info. I am very excited because I feel like I'm in great company of beautiful audience. Applause for my audience, for yourself. Because we got audience again, but also the people at home. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I got amazing guests here at my table. I got the incredible photographer and also filmmaker and beautiful human being, Coco Olakunle. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. And on the other side, I got the one and only Raul Balai, amazing artist. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're gonna dive into who you are, what do you do, why do you do what you do, and what are the tips and tricks and the tops and the flows. But first, Coco, I would like to start with you. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm very excited for our conversation because I will start right away. I think you are an amazing, a super beautiful photographer, right? I don't think photographer is enough. It's filmmaker. You tell stories.
Yes.
And the lens helps.
Yes.
Can we go to beginning? Because now I think a lot more people are knowing your name. I mean, Elle magazine cover, as if it's nothing. Ivy Park, I mean, beautiful brands, but again, your pictures, your stories are the beautiful things that are reaching these stages. So where did this all start?
Yeah, I think I have to go back to when I was around 14, when I got, first of all, thank you for this nice introduction. That's a lot, actually. Okay. Yeah, I got my first camera when I was 14, and it was a very slow camera. So I would put it somewhere and then press the button, run in front, and then I would photograph myself. And that's how I started. And I photographed myself and my friends and my sister. Hey. And actually, it's also because my sister was a photographer herself, so she would travel a lot and take pictures. So that's how I picked it up, actually. And yeah, I went to like old buildings and photographed my friends, and then I went back to the computer and editing it, very dramatic edits. And
dramatic edits meaning?
If I look back now, I think it looks very ugly, but I thought I was like very artistic. And
that's good. You gotta believe in yourself and start somewhere,
yes,
right?
Yes, and I really enjoyed it. And also, I'm a very slow reader, and I'm dyslexic. I cannot even say the word, but so for me, it was really a good way for me to express myself in images instead of like writing and reading. Even though I like it, but I'm just very slow with it. So yeah, that's how I started.
Was a faster way.
Yeah, and I was more comfortable with images than words.
And when was it that you realized, okay, wait a minute, I got an eye for this. I'm dope. I'm good. I'm great.
Wow, that I think that happened when I started working in advertising, and there were I was working with people that worked in the industry for like 20, 30 years, and yeah, they believed in me, and that was the first time when I realized that someone who's like a professional person in this industry that said, I want to put you on this job.
Yeah. And
then I was like, oh, so that means I can actually do something. And I think it's like, as a creative artist, or however you want to call it, you know, obviously, that you have something, like you have an eye for photography, or eye for images, but you will always feel like you're not there yet. And it's always hunting you, even if you accomplish something, and then it's always like, yeah, okay, but what's the next thing? Or what if the next thing is not going to be good?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's...
Yeah, because you also got to kind of like, everybody says, oh my God, you're amazing, and you got to live up to that. And at the same time, you feel like, yeah, but I'm still getting there.
Yeah, I'm always freaking scared, always. That's my standard.
Yeah.
Nervous, scared, insecure.
But is that like before you start clicking, because maybe, you know, going up to the assignment, working with somebody, you have the nerves that keep you sharp.
Yeah.
But then when
Once
you see your subject, or when you see what you want to, does it then disappear?
Yeah. It's like being on stage, you know. First I'm nervous, and then you just forget about everything. But it really depends on the project. I think the vibe on a set depends if I can do my work. Like I can see in my work when I'm when I'm intimidated by someone, I can really see it in my pictures.
How? What is it? Can you? Or is it?
I don't come
secret.
No, it's not like yeah. I mean, maybe people don't want to hire me after this. No. It's. I like to take my time. I like to know who is in front of me. So when the vibe is not safe, you know, you start just clicking instead of looking, you know. So that's how I see, like, when I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, I was probably very nervous there. So I like to take my time, and as I go forward in my work, I also have more space to tell people how I work instead of just doing what the client wants. Yeah. Now it's like, this is how I work. This is how I get my images.
Absolutely, because also they ask you, so that's the time you are allowed to take, right?
Yeah, but that's actually a constant battle because you know, there's a client who pays you to do the work, and at the same time they refer to the images you
have already made. Yeah.
But then I made those images in a specific, you know, context, and so there's this friction between personal work and commercial work. And every time I try to give myself the space to create the work and the quality that I get when I do my personal work, even when there's like a lot of pressure and time pressure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And because the amazing extra cool thing about you, no pressure, is that you are self-taught. You didn't go to school for it. This is born with it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, I wanted to go to art school because, like I said, I went to all these abandoned buildings and take like artistic pictures. And
this is what it should look
like. Yeah. So I thought, I'm an artist. I'm gonna go to art school, and I applied for it. And for that, I had to make. And this was 12 years ago. And I made a photo series about my sisters, and I photographed them when they were doing their hair and when they go to the hair salon and buy the products and the Madame Jeanette pepper that they buy on the market.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So I was really showing their African side, you know, their Nigerian side. But yeah, I didn't get through. So. But the funny thing is now I teach sometimes at Hacker.
Yeah, so I mean that's super dope, right? That's interesting because that is also, I mean, this same system that said, nah, there's no space for you here. Yeah, bluntly said. Yeah. Now says, okay, but hey, you have an eye and you have something to give. So how do you deal with that, or is that also something you discuss with the students now? Yeah,
I definitely do. I always use it as an example. I show the pictures that I send in for my application because I had to go back to my Hotmail account because this is such a long time ago, and I found the pictures, and I still like the series, but I mean it's not my best work, but it's about the story, right?
Absolutely.
So I show it to my students, and then I ask them, what do you think the story is about? And then we have the discussion. Who is in the committee? Who decides who gets into art school and who not? How can they, value your work if they don't understand the story? So I'm actually happy that it went this way because now I can use it as an example. Absolutely. And I'm also happy that, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good.
So, what was it like? Can you take us, because I think it's very interesting indeed that you also. That you're also discussing it, right? With the students, so that they see indeed this is a system that, I mean, we're gonna get into systems for sure with Raul, but it's flawed. you know, and if you believe that no, it could have stopped you or could have brought you somewhere else. And how was it for you, right? You got that invite. Miss Olakunle, would you like to teach? Were you like, yes, or were you like, hell no?
Oh, no, no, because, I mean, I'm over it, that I didn't get accepted. So, no, I was actually very excited. And it was since the beginning of COVID that I started teaching. Not full-time, but just like a fly-in teacher. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't even know that I could do something like that. And now, you know, I share the projects that I work on, my black hair project, for example, and then when I share it, and then there are girls in the, you know, students, and then after class they come like, oh, we've never seen like a teacher sharing these kind of stories. Like, it sounds really cliche, but then I'm like,
that's why you do it,
this
right?
is what I want. Yeah, like seriously, this is what I want. So, yeah, then I'm very proud and excited, like, basically. Yeah, I'm just very excited.
And because you're now also teaching, sometimes educating, but if we talk about you shaping your own education in photography, how did you go about that?
Well, yeah, so I have some younger creatives that I coach, and this is very like natural. We just go somewhere, we have a drink, and then we discuss the projects they are working on, and they all have like a bicultural background. So we discuss how they can implement their own personal background into their creative work, and then. I actually also want someone like that, you know, for myself. So when I shot the cover of Elle magazine, I was very proud, of course. And then I got a lot of questions. Are you the first black female photographer to shoot the Dutch Elle cover? And I was actually a bit scared to ask. And I'm not really sure why, but maybe because I didn't want to, you know, make them feel uncomfortable if the answer would be yes, like if I would be the first one. But someone else asked, and it circled back to me, and I wasn't the first one. So I was like, okay, cool. But who is that woman?
Who was the other person?
Who is she?
Yeah.
And I want to know who she is, because I need her. Like I'm looking for this black female photographer that has been working in the industry for 5-10 years. So if you're listening, please send me a message, because I'm really looking for her. And I'm sharing this with a lot of people. Like, do you know a black female photographer that has been working in the industry for this and this long? And one of the girls said, "Oh, maybe it's funny because maybe you're just looking for yourself." You know, I don't know, but I would really like to have a mentor for that. Yeah.
Okay, so open call.
Yeah.
If that mentor is out there.
Yes, I want to see it. It's
if you're out there and if you're watching, you happen to watching because the universe sent you here, holla at Coco. Okay, because in the back there are a lot of pictures like going by. And let's go into that for a minute. Your creative identity, your eye, your signature. And you already said so. It is especially stories you want to tell.
Yeah.
What is the most important? What's the base of your story that you want to share with the world?
I want to portray us in a way that we see ourselves, how I see us, and basically create images that I didn't see when I was growing up. So that's actually the short answer. That's what I'm trying to do.
And because does this give you like a lot of freedom into creating, or also brings a little bit of pressure because you're representing a culture or you're looking for something you missed?
For me, it comes natural. Obviously, there are a lot of different pressures, but for representing us, no, I don't feel that pressure, because I'm just making what I want to make and see. But I mean, I understand what you mean, because sometimes there is this pressure that because you are a black female photographer, you need to photograph this and that, or black people or black stories. I just really happen to love us, and this is actually my family that you see here.
Hey.
So yeah, this just makes me really happy. So I don't want to make anything else. Yeah, why should I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Shape that for yourself.
Yeah.
Is there something special then, besides, you're saying, I just want to see us, that you want to capture? Because you have a certain style, right? I mean, if you're like, for instance, the story of you going to Lagos, landing there in Fashion Week, you could have said, oh yeah, I'm going to do this inside, but you chose the parking lot.
Yeah.
So there's a...
yeah, because I was there I was in Lagos in 2018. I went to Fashion Week, and first of all, I was so impressed by everyone was just so beautiful, and I felt so much pride in being Nigerian. It was beautiful. And
extra boost.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
And
also me.
Yes. That's so. And then the whole stage was packed with like white fabric, and so everyone was taking the same kind of pictures. And I just wanted to. I just didn't like a white background, so I went into the place where everyone parks, and I just walked around there. And there were these two girls. They were still getting ready because they were also walking on the runway. And while they were making themselves ready, I photographed them, and that was my first picture. That it's a specific moment for me that everything just made sense for me. Being in Nigeria, it's actually these two girls here. Yeah. And they already look like models, but they weren't even finished dressing up yet. And
they were ready though.
Yes, and for me, it just reminds me of, I felt so welcome. And that's why I like working in Nigeria, photographing there, because for me it's a way of feeling welcome and feeling home and starting conversations, and it just makes me really happy and proud.
I think, yeah, absolutely. But I think you capture that in a way that you see that in the picture. When I look at the picture, I'm like, yeah, this is somebody understands it and wants to, because it's sometimes I think as a photographer, people think, oh, yeah, right, you make it look easy. To capture a moment, a feeling, a vibe, and to let people shine. Through power. I think you got that on lockdown.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, since this week I have an intern. She's also here, and I realize it's not about pressing the button. It's about everything that happens before that. The conversations. Photography is people for me. It's making time for people. Sometimes I have to photograph people that are very nervous for the camera. So first I just have long conversations, or I put the camera on the table so they can actually see the machine. And they can like see that it's not a scary thing. Yeah, they can. They can touch it if they want to. So it's about people. And so I'm just a really people person. And then the camera is just an excuse for me to get
access actually to people. Nice. Yeah. And is there, because you say indeed sometimes you have conversations, is there a certain way you always work? Like, okay, at first I come, I look around.
Yeah, I don't think I have a specific like formula for it, but my photography is just really an extension of who I am. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put a little pin in it.
Yeah.
Get okay. Back because who you are, we would like to know who you are as an artist. You are an amazing artist, Raul Balai. But also, you go by El Bastardo.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Can you tell us why El Bastardo?
Well, I have a graffiti background. I think that's where it starts, with having a lot of nicknames. And but no, in generally, my background is Surinamese and Dutch. But like a lot of Surinamese people, we come from all over the world, like India, China, all those things. And when I worked on a couple of projects, I think back in 2008, I started using the name because I started to realize that it doesn't matter where I am at. Though I was born here, always I'm the bastard, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
So I feel at home at most places, but I'm also always the outsider, and that's. I think it's also a good place to be.
The outsider?
Yeah, the outsider and the insider.
Because?
Well, because you can shift perspectives, and I think not everyone has the luxury to shift perspectives. I think what we meet in society these days is a lot of people who cannot or who don't want to shift perspectives. And to understand each other's worlds, you really need to shift the perspective.
Absolutely. I like that. So that's why El Bastardo. I think your work, or I think it came about in the conversation earlier, system, power structures, talking about them, getting access to them. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of that comes back in your work and you make it very accessible. But also, you know, sometimes if there's a lot going on in the world, and you can talk about it in many ways. And I think you use art in a very cheeky way that I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I recognize this, I like this. And then I get into the work and then the layers reveal themselves. Yeah. Is that a thing you do on purpose? Is that just my imagination?
No, I do it on purpose. But it's for me, I was talking to some students last week of the High School of the Arts here in Amsterdam. And one of the students who was a bit like you, and then she said to me, like, you're angry a lot, right? I'm like, hell yeah.
I'm an angry man.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for me to keep it inside. I mean, I also keep some stuff inside, of course, and it gets hard to handle. But when you put it into art and you take the time to process it, and to make fun of it. Like this project is a really good example, I think, of making fun of something. This is
this project?
This is a project in Antwerp by an organization called Sokkel, which means pedestal in Dutch. And it's the pedestal of a statue of King Leopold II, the mass murderer from the Congo. And what they do is they ask different artists to react to the pedestal, and it moves throughout the city of Antwerp. And this was the 2019 edition. And I was already looking for a few years to work with the brand Quatta. So Quatta is, it's Nutella in Belgium, but it's got like this emotional connection for people like blackface has in Holland with Sinterklaas. So it's like on this crossroad. But for the Surinamese people amongst us, we know Quatta is an area in Suriname above the capital Paramaribo. And it's actually a cocoa plantation. So when you go back into this history, then you see this Belgian-Dutch organization that exists from just after slavery. So it's this moment in time where it's really interesting. I read also that in Breda, in Brabant, the word quatta lip is a word to curse at black people.
Word?
Yeah, word. Quatta lip.
Quatta lip. Okay.
So it's really in there, and Belgians don't have any connection with, well, they do, but they only talk about Congo when you talk about the heritage that came out of colonialism. But actually, Belgium exists since 1830, so everything before 1830 they also own, if you ask me. And so that's a funny way of accessing it. So I had this commemoration service actually for the Belgians, or for the Flemish people actually, it doesn't go for the Walloniers, to say goodbye to their chocolate brand. And then they, how do you say that in English, like the round things made out of flowers you use?
Oh yeah, bloemenkrans.
Yeah.
Flower circle, flower, a shade? A shade. Shade.
Yeah,
thank you.
We had white chocolate ones of them, so the white audience could lay at the bottom of the statue. So, and I think that's a really interesting way to interact with your audience also, because they're a bit put in the back, and they can laugh about it. The video is online. You can find it if you find my You can find it on my website as well.
Because is that indeed a way for you, right? The laugh, but also the awareness. Is that a way for you to start the convo and to get people to think about it, but also realize, okay, this is what's going on. Instead of, if you're angry, people won't listen, right? If you're yelling right at them.
Yeah. I always want, or I'm starting to learn more and more, how do I get people to keep on watching, And if you tell them a gruesome story, it doesn't work if it's just like a bloody image.
Yeah.
People will turn away. Like this work also, it's about the cowboy and Indian toys. It's a really poppy show. It's an installation piece in the form of a solo exhibition. And people came in and they were all excited, like, oh, this looks nice, and I see all these colors, and oh, it reminds me of Andy Warhol, etc., etc., etc. And then piece by piece, they look at the works, and then some people came to me like halfway, and they were like, this is not funny at all, Raul. Why do you do this? And I'm like, yeah, to fuck you up.
Yeah, but because, indeed, is that where you want them? Yeah,
because I think most of my work is about these power structures and about exploitation of people and goods and ecosystems and situations that are not good at all.
And has this always been even... I mean, you did graffiti, so that's also a form of art against the system we live in, right? Has this always been an interest of you? Like, we need to talk about these power structures and we need to get them out there in our mouths and then talk about this, but then also change it. Because is this your add-on to the change you would like to see?
Has it always been? I think in the end of Art Academy, I got into Art Academy. I did HKU, art school in Utrecht. No, but I got in because there was one teacher, Aya Gillissen. She was a typography teacher. She passed away. It was a great teacher. And when I did my entrance, I showed all my work, and I had my black books in my bag. Because I knew when you get to Art Academy, and I wanted to do graphic design, I knew they frowned upon graffiti.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And then she looked at all my work, and she was like, you do graffiti, right? I'm like, yeah. So she's like, where's your black book? And then she was like, went to the black book, and she's like, okay, now I understand. And then I got in.
Wow.
But then I was in the class. You probably know Ilja Meefout, the photographer from Amsterdam, who does all the hip hop, like the famous Snoop photo in the Ajax shirt. He was in my class, and he was doing the second year of graphic design, I think for the third or fourth time, and they kicked him out of school. And then 2-3 years later, he blew up with all these pictures.
Wow.
So it's like the same sort of story. It reminded me really of your story about this school. But no, for my end exam, I did a fake agency, advertising agency.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I got really annoyed. I did my end exam was in end of 2005, and that was before smartphones were really a thing, and printing became a lot cheaper. So you saw advertising everywhere.
Yeah, everybody started printing because it's
printing, and it was on weird places that are now normal to us, like on toilets and spaces like that. Now it's normal. Then it was new. And I got really annoyed with all this graphic design everywhere and all this commercial messaging.
Yeah.
So then I started this agency, and I just put them like everywhere, like on the beach shore, so you couldn't see the sea anymore, on sex workers and et cetera, just to hype it up a little bit and make it really ridiculous. So I think that was my first really social project. And then I started a graphic design agency, and we did a lot of normal jobs for graphic designers. And I think around the time when I was combining this with doing contemporary art, and then when I joined the collective, The State of L3, I think that was an important moment in time that we were talking about. Like, the project was Pan-African artists connecting from Senegal, the north of Brazil, the so-called Dutch Caribbean, like Suriname and the islands, and black artists in Holland. Yeah. And we were exchanging ideas and thoughts, and Antonio Guzman started the project. We were like 40 artists, like all over the place, and we were traveling and doing exhibitions in smaller groups and big groups. And I think that started a lot of rethinking my own position in art and what you can do with art, and then also looking at someone like Felix de Rooij, who's really big influence for me. The artists from Wakkerman Collective, like Remy Jungerman and Iris Kensmil, Charles Landvreugd, Patricia Kaarsenhout. Like now they're known names, but at that time they weren't. And they were like in this niche, like, oh, black people who want to do black art. And it's not really art because it's about identity.
Yeah, so it's not it won't be in the bigger places. And
no, like the attention that there's now for non-white artists wasn't there for years and years and years, and it wasn't in the normal conversation about art. I mean, also stuff like this is like...
Yeah. I had a question and then it flew away. But because, I wanted to know what with the L3 project, what awareness did it start for you? What did it bring you?
Well, it was for me really interesting to what I already knew, like coming from, well, if you're Surinamese, you know, you identify as a certain group, but that doesn't mean like a cultural group, like you're Hindustani or Creole, like you would say, like Afro-Surinamese or Chinese, but that doesn't mean that that's your only heritage.
No.
So I come from a Surinamese family that identifies as Afro-Surinamese, though we're also Chinese and Hindustani, etc. And I started recognizing these family structures everywhere where I came, like in Colombia with Afro-Colombian friends. But when you go to Senegal, it's like it's like something you haven't no way of explaining, but you know it's there and you understand each other, and that was really cool. And then when I came back from Senegal, I was walking in the Rivierenbuurt here in Amsterdam South Side, and I ran into an Indian woman, I think first generation, with her kids, like in a sari, complete thing, and it just struck me like, you're also my people.
Yeah.
So it became so much more leveled, and I think then you asked about the El Bastardo thing. That I already used that name, but then it started layering for me, and then it also, my work drifted more to where we are now, like talking about what does exploitation mean, and how does it shape the way we view the world, and how we interact with each other and the world and its natural resources. And then for me it becomes a much more interesting layered story than just exchanging artworks with people from a cultural background that I share, though we have a lot of in common and they are great artists.
Absolutely. And I would like to go now to I Should Love You More Than Pizza, because that is also again very interesting. And I mean, who doesn't love pizza? So you have me right away there, right? But it's an installation piece, and then I go there thinking, oh, nice and cute. And then what happens? Because I like the fact also that this is an installation, but you think about, okay, if this is done, what's going to happen next? So you never do one layer.
No.
Is there like a certain amount of layers you always do? At least 3?
No.
Or you don't think that way?
It starts out most of the time with paintings and drawings, because I come from painting and drawing, so that makes sense to me. But it really starts also with thinking of the concept. So this was...
Can you take us to this one?
Yeah, so this was at Nest in The Hague, and they asked us to make work after we read Miss Alexander, her piece about a fair share of utopia. And the thought behind the piece is, it's a written piece, it's a column, and she says like, okay, so if reincarnation is a real thing, and we think of most of the people being non-white, living off less than €2 a day, and most of them are women, what would we change in the world today, knowing that we have the biggest chance to return in that position in this world? And that's really nice, I think. I think this is sort of...
Raul's mind.
Sort of also a mindfuck when you live at the level we live compared to the rest of the world. Like €2 a day, over here you would live on the streets.
Yeah.
And I always have a sort of issue with the way Christianity rules the world, or ruled the world. Then take
in between,
somewhere in between. And I was talking about the subject with my girlfriend Devika, who really tricked me into, or gave me a sort of a hinge where it could go, because I was really into this Christianity thing and thinking about suffering, and Jesus is suffering, but who should suffer? And then she was taking it outside of this idea of talking about people. It came back to people, but she first took it out of to animals and ecosystems before I could think of, okay, so the people bring you the packages to your door actually bring you a box of suffering, because everything that it takes
to get that product or package to you.
And it doesn't matter what's in the package, it's always, I mean, this person that's coming to your door is suffering because he has no labor rights, but the way it came to your door is making ecosystems suffer. The people who worked in the factory are suffering. It's like this
whole...
It's a terrible gift you're giving yourself. And at the same time, I'm not so interested in this guilt question. Because I think also when we talk about racism in our society, also becomes this guilt conversation.
Yeah, who's blamed?
And then it's the end of the conversation. Well, the actual question is, okay, how do we solve it and move on? Like, acknowledge it's there. It's problematic. We have all these different positions. And that also goes for these kind of products. I mean, we wear sneakers. The person who works in the sneaker factory probably also wears sneakers.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they have the same position towards the issue, but we both wear sneakers, right?
Yeah,
so how do we get past this issue?
Right? I mean...
And that was also the question that people have when they enter this chapel made of cardboard boxes and these holy messengers.
Because they're saints now.
They're saints now. And they're all whitewashed.
Yeah, as
because
many of the...
That's what happens in Christianity. Every saint gets whitewashed. I mean, look at Cracker Christ.
I like when you say Cracker Christ.
But also when you burn a candle, because people were invited to burn a candle, and some people get into this conflict with themselves, like...
Who do you burn a candle for then?
Am I burning a candle for the people who are suffering, for my own bad behavior, or?
So what is the goal that you would like when I go into the chapel, that you would like me to have there? Indeed, that I think about indeed who I'm doing it for, what I'm doing, and what my role is, and where I want to take the convo.
Yeah, I want you to have a good time, because it's also art, and art's also fun. I want you to enjoy the art for the way it looks. I don't mind the little poppiness and color that pop out. It's probably the graffiti background, I think. But I think it should hit you when you enjoy it.
Okay. So when I'm having fun, and then all of a sudden...
You're like, oh, this is fun. Oh, this looks great. Oh, look how he's done it. Oh, let's burn a candle. And then you burn the candle, you put it down, and you're like, damn. That's what I like to happen.
Part of all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna put a little pin in it, because actually right now a project around the Gouden Koets is Amsterdam Museum.
Yeah, the Golden
right?
Coach. Yeah.
The golden carriage. But before we go there, I'm gonna have a quick intermezzo. Let the both of you breathe, have a little water, and then I'm gonna have somebody come to stage. Lillian Stolk, she's the co-founder of the hmmm, and Lillian will give us a short presentation, and after that, oh, I'm sorry, because I think it's very interesting. Lillian, please come upstairs, and can I please get a round of applause for Lillian Stolk? I'm sorry, the co-founder of the hmmm. You're actually a hidden microphone all this time, especially for you. Welcome to the table.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. You will give us a short presentation about the hmmm. The hmmm. Is it with a hmmm or the hmmm? Or the hum?
What you like. I say the hum.
The hum. Because indeed, Kimberly was saying the hum, and I was like, I think it's the hmmm. Right?
You're welcome.
Welcome. You're welcome. The stage is yours, and after that, we will have a conversation about your personality.
Yeah, it will just be a short introduction. I would also like to talk further with you. My name is Lillian. Shall I talk to you or to?
Oh, talk to all of us, but
okay.
yeah.
My name is Lillian and I'm running the hmmm, an inclusive platform for internet cultures. With the events we organize and the articles we publish on our website, we try to better understand the internet, from viral internet trends to the mechanisms behind big tech companies and how that influences our society. And we always invite speakers that are professional makers and amateur makers, scientists, activists, influencers, people with a weird fascination. It's a very broad mix of people. So this is very short program-wise what we do. And since the pandemic, we actually also play around with the format of our events. Because we had events, one with a Pechakucha format, so with a lot of speakers.
Oh yeah,
8 speakers with 5 minutes presentation, and a longer format around one topic with 3 speakers that give a longer talk. And all our events took place in physical spaces, and we thought that it was also a very important part of our events, because we all put so much time, spend so much time behind our screens. And we thought we want to reflect on the internet, it's also good to have a bit of a distance to it.
Do not do it on the internet itself.
Indeed, yeah. So we thought that it was a quite important part of our events to have them in physical places. But of course, that was not possible when COVID happened. But for us, it felt also really weird to just move our events to one of the big tech platforms, because we were also critical on that with our events. So that was a bit of a difficult question for us in that time that everything changes. And where shall we do? We knew we had to move over our events to the internet, but where? So we decided to just have 5 speakers and 5 different platforms where they give their presentation. So, and each speaker gave their 5-minute presentation on a different platform. So we had one speaker in YouTube, one in Zoom, one in Discord, one on Twitch, and one on Jitsi. And the audience also had to move from platform to platform in order to see all presentations. Yeah. For us, it was also a way to see how does this platform influence the event. So what interaction possibilities are there with your audience in Zoom, and how is it different from YouTube or Jitsi? That was the first event we did, and actually already from the beginning we treated the online events as an experiment and also as a research. After that event, we found out that not one of the platforms was a perfect platform for us. So we decided to build one ourselves, also to be able to have control over all the data. One example, on that platform, we do pay a little bit of money to stream. On YouTube, that is free, but it shows you that on YouTube you probably pay with something else, because it does cost energy to store your video for a second on a server to be able to stream it online. So that are things you probably you maybe are not so aware of, but if you are thinking around the systems that we are used to use, then you suddenly see that. What else to say? So we built our own platform. It's a very simple platform. You already saw it. This is also one of our experiments. We thought, okay, now we have an online event and we can really invite everyone. So also a llama. Yeah. That's not possible in a physical space. This is our platform. It's really it's really simple. So it's just a stream, a very simple chat. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to log in anywhere to be able to join the event. That was very important for us.
Yeah. Is it to make it accessible for everybody?
Yeah.
Just not to do that, what everybody does, having to log in, having to...
No, the accessibility is really important for us. We also saw that during that first experiment, like for instance in YouTube, if you only can participate in the chat when you log in there. In Jitsi, that is an open source tool, and there everybody can participate in the chat. So it also gives a different dynamic to the whole event.
Wow.
And I still think we are still like doing a lot of research. Now there's a whole different situation because we can do hybrid things. There is a physical audience possible again. This is also really a challenge. It's a bit different from this event because we are having a conversation and there's an audience here, and there's an audience
and there's
online.
An audience at home, yeah.
But with our events, we have speakers who like directly talk to the audience, and it's quite difficult to talk to a physical audience and at the same time an online audience.
Yeah.
We once did an event with a live stream setup similar as this. And that was after we did a few online events. And then some online visitors said they had the feeling they were looking to other people having a nice evening. So
they were tuning in or looking at us.
Yeah, and nobody was talking to them. So I think that this is really a challenge, and that is also something we are going to explore now and also next year. Like how can we make a connection between online, physical and digital audience? How can we, both make the event for both audiences?
Because the speakers, when they come, right, these are different kinds of art. What is it that they share? Most of them is there like a main topic? Is everybody doing something else?
Raul was once a speaker and a guest program.
I curated it.
So it's a really diverse mix.
And what were you at an online version or?
No, this was before COVID. This was the normal world.
That world.
No, it was really fun because I also got pulled into it, and I put together 3 different persons who talked about architecture, which is not really my thing, but I know them, like Walter Picorni, Wally Pox, and 2 friends of mine who come from a different background. One is really from Eastern Europe, he's Polish, and he likes cubism and all this really heavy architecture. And the other one is a friend of mine from Art Academy. He builds those things from Lego.
Oh, wow. So you
has an Instagram account.
Yeah.
3 different perspectives on architecture. And then is there and it's all like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that event series is and that goes all over the place. So
you have several presentations at the evening. So they were there with 3, and then someone else put in also 3 people, and it goes really fast. And at the end of the evening,
you always learn something new.
It's like the internet but live.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's like
also the idea.
Yeah, like the name, the hmmm.
Yeah.
First, actually, we were called the Wow, but that's
the Wow.
Different. It's a bit different story, but it all comes from a quote from David Foster Wallace, a writer, and he says he was talking about the Wow, and he described the fast and vividness of the television culture, like oppervlakkigheid.
Yeah, the superficialness of
that he described as the wow, and he said it gaat ten koste van, so it replaces the literary hum. So we thought, okay, it's good to like reflect on our online behavior sometimes, because we daily scroll through so many images and we don't really think about it, and that's what we want to do with our programs, that we
think about it,
reflect on that. Yeah.
But that's the funny thing about actually, because especially if you think that in some way you still have to use the internet within that to talk about the internet.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Fight the internet with the internet.
Yeah, it's also like we try to like use build our own platform, but we also have Instagram because that is where
the world also is.
People meet us. We don't really like Facebook, especially after this year, and that also made us aware of the impact. In around April this year, our account got blocked on Facebook, and we didn't know why. There was no reason given. All of a sudden we couldn't log in, and not only the hmmm account, but also all the personal accounts that are attached to the hmmm. There was no way to get it back when we tried.
So then everything is gone. So they have the power to just
everything is gone. We tried to get it back, and then they say, no, you didn't follow the guidelines, but we didn't know what we did. But we do have some people who know people from who work at Facebook, people from Bits of Freedom. They asked around, and all of a sudden, turned out that there somewhere in the event description was the word QAnon, this conspiracy theory. We had an event with a speaker who was talking about QAnon and how it has a similarity with computer games. But he was not going to try to make people believe in the QAnon thing. But
it was a trigger for them to say, okay.
Facebook works with this AI content moderator, and then he says, QAnon, okay, block everything.
Wow.
But it makes us realize how vulnerable we are as users. Like we already are quite critical, and we have all these alternatives. We have a newsletter, we have a website, but there are so many people who only have Facebook because it's so easy. Like there of course was this breakdown of Facebook, and then I was reading somewhere like in some countries this block. Facebook was not available is similar to the internet is not working,
not being available
because it's like internet sometimes Facebook sometimes in some countries is the internet, is the only way to get online. So that is really interesting, and also
it's a scary, dangerous power structure. Come on now, that's I mean, but okay. So because I would like to know, when is the next event? And then is it a physical event, or is it
both? It's both. It's hybrid. The next event is on the 20th of October, and will be around online fandoms or stan culture. Maybe you remember last year when Trump did that Tulsa event. It was one of the first presidential campaign moments in somewhere in Tulsa, and then the stage, the stadion, the arena was half empty. And that was because people online on TikTok and K-pop stands bought tickets for that event, but decided not to, or they already knew they won't go. And that is a way, a good example of how these online communities, fan communities, are really influencing also our politics. So it's not only being a fan of a celebrity anymore, it's really way more behind it. So that's something we're gonna explore on the 20th. Not only with, we have a scientist and a journalist, but also 3 stans who are there: a Rihanna stan, and a BTS stan, and an ex-Miley Cyrus stan. So they also are going to say how it is to stan.
Right, and 20th of October.
Yeah.
On the website? On the own platform?
It is on at Felix Meritis here in Amsterdam. And this time we're gonna stream via Twitch. Not so privacy friendly, actually, but this event we're really gonna explore the power of the chat. And Twitch has a very playful chat with custom made emojis that you can use. So that is something we're gonna explore for that event.
All right. Good luck, good luck. And still, I would, of course, like to mention, because y'all are also nominated for the Amsterdam Prijs.
Yes. Oh my God.
Are you excited? Are you looking forward to that? Because if
Yeah.
correct, that's next week, right?
Yeah, it's Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. Yeah, I'm still every day. I'm really happy with the nomination, and also these last days because there are also really beautiful other nominees. So I'm still enjoying the last day of being a nominee.
You're still a nominee. I'm gonna be there Monday, so I'll see you Monday. I mean,
yeah, it's
fingers
so
crossed.
we're really happy to be that we're going that we're it really felt like we're being seen.
You're being seen.
Yeah, feels really special.
All right. Thank you very much for this update. The 20th of October, if you would like to be there, people here in the audience, but also at home, doing hybrid hosting right now, make sure that you either go to Felix Meritus or on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Twitch. Check it out. The hum, or I like to say the Lillian Stolk. Applause for Lillian, please. All right. So, okay. What we normally do right now at this point, I'm going to merge the conversation. And I have, of course, lots of questions, but so does the universe. I have a card deck, and in this amazing card deck, there are questions. I didn't bring them up. The universe did. So, and then we're going to choose left or right, and then we're going to answer the question. It's very simple. It's very fun. And in between, also, if things come up, I might still add a little sauce to it. You ready?
Ready.
Yes?
Go.
All right, so can we have this amazing card deck? Oh. Is this already a question? No, it's not. Do you want left or right? Coco?
Left.
Left, please. And the question is, in what emotional state do you create your best work?
Oh wow, that's an interesting question. Like I said in the beginning, I always go. When I start a shoot, I always go very low in my emotional state, and then at some point I have my shot, and then I know I have it, and then it just goes through the roof. So I think when I feel excited and that I'm not doing it by myself. You know, even if I'm only shooting by myself, you also have the person, right, that I'm shooting. So when there's like a collaboration and that makes me happy, and then I think then I get the best work. Yeah.
When do you know you have your shot? What is it?
Oh, that's
because do you stop clicking after that? No, right? Or yes?
No, because for me that's like my starting point. So first I shoot, I'm like, oh, I'm shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a photographer.
Being very critical, but yeah.
But that's how I feel then. And then at some point I have it. It's hard to explain what that is. It's a combination of mostly light for me, light or attitudes or a look, colors. But yeah, that's my starting point, and then I'm like, yeah, let's go here, let's do this. So yeah, then I forget time.
Nice. And then you just go.
I go, yeah.
Could we ask you the same question, or do you want the other card? Because in what emotional state?
In the end, I need to be relaxed. Like we were talking about anger first.
Yeah. Are you angry?
But that's in the beginning of the process before I do research. But when I need to do paintings, I need to be like happy and relaxed. And I'm also insecure because what you have, like I'm not a photographer. Sometimes I start out like I'm doing too much stuff. I'm doing like all over the place stuff. I cannot paint. I'm not a real painter. I have those moments as well. And then it picks up and then I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember. And then it just starts rolling. Yeah.
Okay. So you both sitting here and having that thing that I think most artists have. Sometimes you're very critical till you find your spot and then you go and you create. You both work from within your own interest, but also people come to you, clients ask, and then you work together, collaboration. Who do you think has more freedom in making? The photographer or the artist? You're both artists, but who do you think has more creative freedom in putting your sauce into that?
You mean, do you mean like?
Yeah. As Raul is an artist who uses like installations or painting, and you doing photography. Silly question, maybe, but
Depends on how you take it on, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is correct, but it also depends on how the client looks at you. Because if they approach you as an artist, maybe, you know, they pick you because of the work you make. With photography, sometimes, you know, they look at your work, but then they say, we want this. Can you make this?
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to do what the client wants. So, but my goal is to make work, you know, get clients that like my personal work, so I can just basically do my personal work, but then paid.
Yeah. And how do you balance that? I think for you both, this question, balancing that commercial work and that personal work. How do you balance that?
Whenever I have free time, I do personal work. So I do a lot of personal work, actually, because that's just fun for me.
But that's also where you create your signature, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it can be hard, because the moment you start work, or if I speak for myself, the moment I started working as a photographer, like getting paid jobs, you know, you do what the client wants, but you also want to keep developing yourself. So you need to do personal work, because otherwise you're just only creating for other people. So sometimes you have to stop your work. And that's very hard, because as a freelancer, if you don't work, you don't have any money, right? That's just the reality.
It's a lot about the economic situation as well.
Yeah.
Because how does that work for you? How do you go about that?
Well, a lot of work I wouldn't do if I would have all the money in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Though there are assignments I will do for sure, because I'm committed to the subject.
Yeah.
So there are these two things that are really interesting also, and I think it also gives back a lot, like working for clients, especially like developing concepts for exhibitions and working more in a curatorial field also makes you reach out and contact so many new people and get in touch with so many new subjects and situations that it's really nourishing as well as an artist, I think. Just being in your studio all the time has also its good things, but it can also be a drag. I think if I look at some other artists, that it's also in another way really demanding to just only put out like paintings or something, you know?
Okay, another card. Raul, you get to pick first. Oh, sorry, I want to go to the card decks again. Please. Left or right?
Left again.
Left again. We're keeping it left.
Yeah, there's enough right wing in the world.
Why did you ever make an embarrassing? Did you ever make an embarrassing mistake? And are you willing to share that with us?
Did I ever? Yeah, of course I did, but what?
Or maybe something that a work you did, and then as it was already out there, you realized,
Well, mainly in when I had a graphic design company, like when you're a young designer and you work for companies and you just send something to print, and like the logos are not good there, they're in overprint or something, and everything has to be reprinted and you have to pay for it. Like, I mean, that's
ouch.
That's heavy. But like, as an artist working for myself, you make embarrassing mistakes with yourself in the studio, and then go Bob Ross on it and just work on.
Make it a happy
Yeah, it's a happy accident, and let's move on. So I always have these moments that I embrace mistakes when I'm painting. Sometimes like something happens and it's like, I fucked it up, and fuck it up even worse. And then
you see what comes out of it.
And it comes back to you in a good surprise,
Do you also have that freedom with the camera?
No, when I make a mistake, I just feel shit. It's hard to fix it for me. But no, when I saw this question, I had to think of a shoot I did. It was a commercial shoot, and we were halfway the day, and I wanted to, transfer the images to the external hard drive. But first, I had to empty the hard drive. But instead of emptying the hard drive, I deleted all the images.
No.
And then I realized at the moment I pressed the button, I was like, okay, delete or clean up. I did it, and I was like, how am I gonna like there were clients, models, everything. So yeah, that was very embarrassing because I had to explain that I just did that myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't anyone else's fault, it was my fault.
How did you correct that?
So apparently you can get your images back from an SD card. It's crazy. And I found even images back from, with like software. I found images back from like 2 years ago. So if you think you delete something, it is still there.
This is the golden tip. Yo,
Yes.
so what?
Yes. Yeah.
Y'all hearing this, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But do you have to bring it somewhere, the SD card? Or do you
You just have to buy software. And then, I don't know, it's sort of magic. But I mean...
That must have been a relief for you.
But at that moment, I didn't know that I would get it back. So it was, I had to go to through the embarrassment.
Okay, yeah, so you had to tell them, and then, but in the end, it all worked out
it did,
fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's some scary stuff.
Yeah, if you ever sell your computer, rewrite the standard like 8 or 9 times. You can find this online because people can just drag all old stuff off your hard disk. Yeah.
More tips. Just don't sell your computer.
No.
Gooi het bij de
Take out the hard disk.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more card. I like the goodies coming out of the cards. Left or right?
Left again.
We're keeping it left. Keep it on the left side. And we are now getting the question. Oh, fate said something else. We said left. Describe what success would look like to you. What's success to you? What does it feel like? What does it sound like?
Well, I think something you said for me is right, like getting recognition from certain people you really appreciate because they know what you're doing and what your craft is, I would say. And I think being absolutely free to choose if you want to do something that's an assignment, for me personally. That's something I'm working towards for a long time already.
Okay, where are you now then? Halfway there?
No, I'm over halfway.
Oh, but that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Almost.
Yeah.
And is there, because you said maybe getting recognition for certain people, is there like a certain person or is it a certain platform?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think you need to have shows at certain places to feel acknowledged by like the art world, whatever that may be. But then when the show is there, and I mean, if your mom likes it, it's okay, because most moms like the most things you do, or they suck at being a mom and they don't like it. But like the artist I mentioned before, like if someone likes Felix de Rooij, who I really appreciate a lot, and I know where he comes from and how much experience he has, and he's like impressed by what I've done, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, because you also, I mean, you've traveled, you've worked with people all around the world. I mean, they might feel the same about you, right? You're Raul Balai.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have to stay humble also. I mean, it's good. No, it's good to recognize that you've been places, but I really don't like arrogant people.
Okay.
It's good to shine and brag a little bit, but it's
not too much. Sit down, be humble. I get you. And for you, Coco?
What does success look like for me? Yeah. It's a hard question because, you know, you have successes, but it never feels like, it always feels like there needs to be something next. But for me personally, I feel successful when my sisters, you know, when they give me compliments. That's like really important for me, or when they appreciate the work that I do, and they always do. So that's
good.
They're my biggest friends. So that's and work-wise, yeah. What is success? It comes in so many forms. I think sometimes when you look back, you know, you realize that you actually did something in your life, you know, because sometimes it can feel like it doesn't go fast enough, or this person is making this and she's 10 years younger than me. How did that happen? So I think the fact that we're doing what we love is a success in itself.
Absolutely.
True.
And I think this is I want to make it the last question, but there can roll a big answer out of it. But at the same time, I can't let you leave without asking this, because I think you're both makers who also address social issues, right? And you are absolutely reflecting the times you live in, both in your own way. Do you think that is a must for an artist? You must be reflecting your times, but also indeed the social issues. Use that platform you have, make awareness. Is it a must? Kinda. Yes or no?
Is it if you don't do what are you? Yeah, I wouldn't know. Hard question. I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How?
What else are you? What else are you
doing?
Because what you're making comes from life.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, it comes from the art you make comes from what is happening in the world on today, and who you are and how you relate to your environment.
Mm.
Like, I think that's, at least for myself, that's where I get my.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's inspiration, but that's where my works. That's why it exists. Yeah.
For you?
No, absolutely yes. But I think, like, if you're an artist that only works with a material,
mm-hmm.
I think it's really good it's there, because it's a different way of going into the arts. But I think you're in a privileged position to being able to do just that. And when I look at the art field, I see a lot of artists who are just in this theoretical space and just make work about matter or all those things. And I think that they're not always aware of the privileged position they are in. Because I think as creatives or an artists, we have a lot of power to tell stories in a really different way than by having a conversation about a problem or an issue. And it touches people in different ways, and that we have to use this power to transform people. I don't know if we're going to save the world, but at least we got to try, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, absolute last question, short but powerful. What's the footprint you want to leave behind? What is that? Okay, Coco was here, Raul was here. What's it that you want to leave behind on the world, the people?
Yeah, I just want my niece to be a photographer because we're already working on that. So that would be my,
passing it through.
Yes,
the legacy.
100%.
Okay, well, maybe if she will have
She's
me
already
in
started.
all those years later, I could have her here at the table.
Within 5 years, trust me.
Oh, sweet. Within 5 years. Remembering the face.
No pressure at all.
Do you. And for you, Raul?
I hope I can be part of stopping some really tiring cycles that we've been going through as humankind.
Ooh. Okay. You think you're halfway there or over it?
No, I think it's going to be a long road to get there. But no, I think we're both in our own way working with our community, like the community we live in, to help people understand different things about themselves. And I think that is the way into stopping all these kind of circles we're into, whether it's capitalism or racism or all those isms.
Isms.
Yeah.
Doing something about the isms.
Isms, I think it helps.
I'm going to thank you. Thank you both so much for this conversation. Can I please get a round of applause for our guests? Raul Balai, Coco Olakunle. Thank you so much. Please keep doing you. Keep creating. Keep inspiring, and see you out there in those spaces, on this magazine, on those billboards, in this musea. I hope to see you there more. You as an audience here, thank you so much for joining us. at this part and also at home. I hope that I will see you again next week, because next week we have 2 amazing new guests. We got Darwin Winkler, amazing, and Shirella Gessel. Please tune in again so you can see all of the creative frontrunners of the city doing their thing, being in conversation with us. And yes, that was it for tonight. My name is Jennifer. Thank you. Goodbye. Peace out.